Hello everyone and welcome back. My name is Mr. Cobalt, and in this video I'm going to be going over rounding off answers that are derived from multiplication and division. So let's get into this. When we're calculating an answer based on some measurements that we take, and in that process, when we multiply and divide our measurements and get an answer, we need to figure out how many of those digits we're allowed to keep, right? A lot of times when we multiply and divide on a calculator, we get like basically the whole screen is filled with numbers. Can we just write down all the numbers? Well, no, it turns out we can't write down every single number. We're limited by the inaccuracy or the precision of our measurements. So we need to follow a rule. So when it comes to multiplying and dividing, the rule is when an answer is calculated by multiplying and dividing, we round off the same number, we round off the answer to the same number of significant figures as the inexact value with the fewest significant figures. So what does that mean? Well, let me show you. I'll do a couple of examples and hopefully it'll be clear after that. So in the first example, we're told that the average human body has 5.2 liters of blood. What is that volume in quarts? And so here we're given a couple of conversion factors. And so we're going to use our conversion factors to convert the 5.2 liters of blood to quarts. So that's the first thing. We need to do our conversion, and then at the end of the conversion, we calculate our answer, and then we have to figure out what number of digits we are allowed to round to. So we start with 5.2 liters. So 5.2 liters of blood over 1. And we're going to convert liters to gallons because then we could use gallons here to convert to quarts, which is what they want. So I'm going to use this. So I have liters of blood on the top, so I want liters on the bottom. So I'm going to put 3.785 liters of blood and 1 liter of blood on top. So I'm sorry, not liters, gallons. We want gallons. So liters of blood is going to cancel out. Now we have gallons of blood on top. Now I can use the 1 gallon to 4 quarts to convert to quarts. And so here we go. So I have gallons of blood on the top. So I want 1 gallon on the bottom. 1 gallon of blood. And then on top, I'm going to put 4 quarts of blood. So gallons are going to cancel out. Now I have quarts. So now what I need to do is just calculate it out. When I calculate it out, I get, let's see, what do I get? I get 5 point, what's on my calculator? 49537, 49537. 65. And so this is quarts of blood. Now, that's what the calculator gives me, but I'm not really going to be able to keep all those digits. So I have to figure out where I cut off my number. So again, according to the rule, my answer, if the answer that I calculate by multiplying and dividing, we need to round it off to the same number of significant figures as the inexact value with the fewest significant figures. So we have to look at our values that we're using here. And it's important that the key word here is inexact value. So that means that we ignore anything that is exact. So whenever we have a conversion between 2 metric units or 2 English units, those are exact because they're true by definition. So we can ignore those. If it's the if it's between a metric and an English unit, that is not going to be exact, though. That's going to be an exact measure. And so those are the ones we can't ignore. The only exception to that is 1 inch is equal to 2.54 centimeters. That is exact, so we would ignore that. So if we look at what we're given here, we start with 5.2 liters of blood. That is a given measurement. That's going to be inexact, so we have to pay attention to that. That has 2 sig figs, right? So we'll just put a 2 here. So that has 2 sig figs. This gallon to liters, that is English to metric. So English to metric conversion is inexact. So we have to pay attention to this. Now the 1 here is just a ratio between these two. So the 1 is not significant, right? So it's just relating 1 gallon to 3.785. So this number here is the value that we're paying attention to, and that has 4 significant figures. Now here, 1 gallon and 4 quarts, gallons and quarts are both English units of volume. So this comparison is exact, and so we are not going to take this into consideration. We're going to ignore this, and so we're not going to pay attention to that. So when it comes to figuring out how many digits we keep, it says that we need to round off our answer to the same number of significant figures as the inexact value with the fewest significant figures. So which has the fewest? This has 4, this has 2, so 2 is the fewest. So that means our answer should only have 2 sig figs. So that means we need to cut it off here. So notice there's a 9 there. So that means we need to round the 4 to a 5. So we would keep the 5 here, round that 4 to a 5, and that's it. So we get quarts of blood. So that's 5.5 quarts of blood as our final recorded answer. Okay, what about the second one? Let's do another one. So here we're asked how many minutes does it take an ant walking at 0.0 meters per second to travel 6.0 feet across a picnic table? So how long in minutes? So we need to take the 6 feet that we're given and convert that into minutes. So we're going from length to minutes. This here, meters per second. Anytime you have something per something, right? Like grams per milliliter, meters per second, miles per hour. Anytime you have something per something, that is a conversion factor that you could use. So let's go ahead and get into this. So we're going to start with the 6.0 feet. And we want to get to minutes. So we're going to get the time. So we're going to have to use this to convert length to time. So we got feet. In order to use this, we have to use meters. So we're going to have to convert somehow. And again, how you convert is really up to you. What units you use are really up to you. If they don't give you anything, then you could use whatever you remember or whatever what they give you. So here we're not given anything, but converting feet, we can use our English feet to inches. So if I take 6 feet, I know that 12 inches are in a foot. So I'm going to put 1 foot on the bottom, 12 inches on top, so feet cancel out. Now I have inches. I want to get to meters, so I can do that by first converting to centimeters, since I know what the relationship between centimeters and inches are. And so that's going to be 2.54 centimeters is equal to 1 inch. So I'm going to put 1 inch on the bottom since I have inches on top, and 2.54 centimeters on the top. So inches canceled out. Now I have centimeters. Now I can convert centimeters to meters, right? Because I know, I'll write it up here. So if I do my equality, a certain number of meters is equal to a certain number of centimeters. I put the 1 with the centimeter, and then centi has the multiplier 10 to the negative 2. And so that tells me that 1 centimeter is equal to 10 to the negative 2 meters. So I can use that to convert. So now I'm going to do my next step. So since I have centimeters on top, I'm going to put centimeters on the bottom. So 1 centimeter on the bottom. And I have 10 to the negative 2 meters on top. So centimeters cancels out. Now I have meters. Now I can use this as a conversion factor. I know that 1 second is equal to 0.01 meters. So since I have meters on top, let me shorten this, give me some space. So since I have meters on top, I'm going to put 0.01 meters on the bottom. So 0.01 meters on the bottom and 1 second on top. So now meters cancels out. Now I'm in time. I got time. So, but I want minutes. So how many minutes? So I got seconds. I know how many seconds are in a minute, 60. So I'm now going to use that to convert to minutes. So 60 seconds on the bottom, 1 minute on top. So now the seconds cancel out. Now I have minutes. Minutes is what I want. Minutes is what I'm being asked for. So I am done. So now all I need to do is multiply and divide. So let's multiply and divide and get our answer. And our answer is 3.048 minutes of time. So now that we have our answer, the second part is how many digits do we keep? How many sig figs should we have in our answer? And so again, our answer should have the same number, right? The same number of significant figures as the inexact value with the fewest sig figs. So we are going to look at this and find the inexact figure or measurement with the fewest sig figs. So let's start with our given. So our given is always going to be a number of sig figs. Well, I shouldn't say always. Most of the time, we're going to have to pay attention to the sig figs of what we're given. So here we have 2 sig figs. 6 and 0 are both significant. Here we have English to English conversion. So that is exact. So we ignore that. That's true by definition. Now here we have English to metric. Normally we would say that that's a measure. That's inexact. But in this case, this is the only case in which this is considered exact. So 1 inch is equal to 2.54 centimeters exactly. So we're going to ignore that. Once again, we have centimeters to meters. We have metric to metric. That is going to be exact. So we ignore that. And then here we have 1 second to 0.01 meters. Now notice this is a metric unit of length. This is a metric unit of time, right? So time and length are different categories. This is going to be a measure. So we got to pay attention to the number of sig figs here. So here, the zeros here are not significant. They're just placeholders. The 1 is significant. So here we only have 1 sig fig. And then finally, here we have 60 seconds to a minute. These are both time units. And so this is true by definition, metric to metric. So this is exact. So we are going to ignore that. So the only 2 numbers we need to worry about is this one and this one. And the least number is 1. So that means that our answer can only have 1 sig fig. So we have to cut off everything after the 3. And since this is a 0, we're not going to round to 3, so it's going to be 3 minutes. 3 minutes of time is what we are allowed to record as our answer. So I hope this was helpful. If you enjoyed this video, then please like, share, subscribe, share this video with your friends, family, relatives, anyone who cares. And also make sure you subscribe to my channel. Hit that notification bell. Let me know what you think down in the comments, and ask me questions. I would love to hear from you. Thanks for joining me, and have a great day.